they didn't like each other, so they started fighting, and then the remaining players that were still on the bench or the ice, because the period was over, so half of us were in the dressing room. So Grant Ferguson was waving us all, let's go, let's go, let's go, get back out there. Luckily we had half our gear off already, so we were ready to fight. The fight was going on, it took probably 20, 30 minutes, whatever, and my mom was probably horrified sitting in the crowd watching this, and then we all came up to play the third period. And after the game, that's exactly what happened. She was clinging to my arm, holding on to me, saying, "You're coming home with us, you're not staying." And my dad, he's an old farmer from Grand Forks, and he grew up playing hockey. He was the fighter on his team, and he said, "Nope." You know, he grew up in Vancouver, he's whatever, he needs to learn how to fight, he's staying, this is good for him.
It's good for the boy.
It's good for the boy.
Yeah, exactly. And your mom's probably wishing you would have gotten Brandon at that point, right?
Exactly, yeah, she's thinking about that phone call.
Yeah, big time, big time. It's always, I mean, it is hockey, you're right, it is hockey, but you start so young, and you leave home so young, and then you get drafted so young, and then you move right to a different province, and all that happens when you're 15, 16 years old. So you come to Lethbridge, and billets are so very important, so important. You can't stress that enough. You were lucky to get probably two of the best we've ever had in the Brickley family. And not only for Deb and Rick, but also, you know, I mean, their son played in the Western Hockey League, and now their grandson is playing in the Western Hockey League. But talk about the stabilization factor of having a billet family like that to come live with.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think immediately my mom felt comfortable with the Wrigley's, and that was the big thing. My dad was my dad, he's whatever, you know, you're playing hockey, it was good. Mom was a little bit more of the logistical stuff. She was the one that brought me, met the Wrigley's, made sure everything was good. And I think my mom fell in love with Debbie and Rick right away. But yeah, leaving home at 16, it's a big deal. And you know, having I don't know how many billet families are here, but having a group of people that are willing to take a kid into their home and make them feel safe and make them feel comfortable and treat them as their own. It's very special for us as players, and it gives us the ability to play the game, and the game we love, and in a different city, and it gives our parents a sense of security, and they feel good about dropping their kid off and leaving them. And I think it's, like I said in my speech, I think it's one of the great things about junior hockey is billet families are willing to do that, and it's awesome for us as players.
And obviously he was a good billet. How many times you missed curfew? Never is a long time till somewhere is a big place, Deb. I don't think I'm buying that. That's okay. All right. I didn't realize this, but Whitey pointed out the other day that there are two in the 27-year history of the Hurricanes. There's been 31 different captains, but only two have been captains for 3 years in a row. One is Joe Arneson, the other is Brent Seabrook. Both wear number 7. So you got that connection there. To become a captain at such a young age, what was that? Is that a mantle that you wore proudly right away, or did you have the little bit of growing pains in the captaincy at a young age?
You definitely have growing pains. I mean, you're looked at to be the leader for sure, and as a 17-year-old, it's tough because you're looking around the room and there's 20-year-olds in the room. You know, if I said I was the greatest captain at 17, I'd be lying to everyone in here. I mean, I had to learn a lot. I named a few names, you know, Nathan Barrett, Scotty Borders, Tim Green. You know, that's a few people that really took me under their wing, but there was a whole group of guys that really helped me out as a 16-year-old. You know, the same amount of guys helped me out as a 17-year-old, even as a captain. You know, captains of a team, you're not by yourself. If you got a good team, you got to have leaders throughout your locker room, and the captain has got the biggest responsibility. Has to talk to the media, has to deal with all the crap. Usually has to try and set the tone, but you know, to have a winning team, And to have a good organization, you have to have a bunch of leaders and a bunch of good people in there. So I think, you know, for me to say that I did it all by myself is totally inaccurate. But yeah, it takes a team to lead. And I had a lot of great people and a great coaching staff. Brian Maxwell, I learned a lot from him. You know, he was really good for my career early on. You know, I just. I don't really know what else to say about it.
Look, I'm not afraid to say that I carry game nights here, so you don't be afraid to say you carry the team back there. It's totally fine. Do we have any questions? Anybody got a question for Seeds? Yes. Hold on a second. I'm already going to try to help and start with the workout. Go ahead.
Brent, I know you played with a lot of local products and guys. Who was your favorite, or did you hang out with most?
My least favorite is Christopher Steve. No, I did. It was pretty cool, you know, being in the city and having a lot of local guys, you know, especially Chris. He was so well liked within the community. But just a lot of guys. I mean, Clay Plume, Colton Yellowhorn, a lot of guys from around the area. It was nice to play with them. They knew a lot of people. You know, at school, we weren't always the most well-liked people there, but Chris seemed to know everybody, so it was really easy for us, and that was nice. But yeah, just great people. A lot of great memories from my time in Lethbridge and playing with some of those guys. I mean, I played with Steger for 2 cup victories and still talk to him this day. He's in Toronto creating a Super League for 10-year-olds, so that's nice to see. It's good. Good friend.
Awesome. Okay, another question over here.
Do you remember what kind of hockey you played like 9 to 10 years old?
I played minor hockey. I played defense. I worked as hard as anybody's ever worked in their whole life. So you have to do that too.
So when were you kind of tagged as somebody who could maybe, like, when did that start for you? Was it around 10 years old? Was it, were you a little earlier, a little later? I assume you're playing, right?
Yeah.
What team?
Cyclones.
And you, yeah, okay. Got some Cyclone fans here. So I want to touch briefly on this now, because this is something, and for those of you who are going to be at the celebrity dinner, this is just kind of a microcosm of the hot stove we're going to have. But it does bring up a good point, because with the new Women's Hockey League, right, that gives you something to play for, and you also have 2 daughters who now play hockey, and that gives them something to play for too. So that's a really good question, and that's a really big deal now for the girls coming up.